earlier, so it might be my thing.
We are live. Thank you everyone for joining us once again. This is Magnet Monday. My name is Dee. My co-host is Erica Ainit, and we have two special guests here today, and we are really excited because we are going to talk about investing.
Yes. Who doesn't love investing? Happy Monday. Good afternoon, guys. Thank you so much for being with us today. Like I said, we know both of you are very busy, so we're not going to take much of your time, but we want to talk today about investing. I know, Alfredo, if you can introduce yourself, and then Sergio. People already know me and Dee, but Alfredo, let me know who you are, how long you've been in the business, and same thing with Sergio. Alfredo, you go next. You go first.
So I hope my microphone works. It's been sketchy all day, so hopefully it sounds a little bit better now. But I'm with Keller Williams. I'm a team leader. I've been in real estate for 14 years. So October this year will be 14 years, and I started as a brand new realtor, not knowing anything, in 2007. So that was the crash of the market for all the youth that don't know what happened during that time. And I haven't been lucky enough to work with a great company, but I've worked a lot of foreclosures, a lot of short sales. I've also worked with a lot of the institutional investors. So I've had a lot of opportunity to work with different investors of different types, and I've learned a lot during that time. And I think if you're in real estate, you should invest. Even if it's in your own house, you should invest in something and use your real estate, whether it's your profits, to invest in a few things, houses, etc. Stocks, crypto, which we'll get into, but you should invest. So that's my story. 14 years in real estate. I now oversee an office, and just gonna share a little bit of investment with people out there.
Awesome.
Thank you, Alfredo. Who are you, Sergio? Tell us about yourself.
So thank you for the invite, ladies. I'm happy to be here, and it's never too busy to spend some time with some motivational individuals like yourself. So thank you, Eric, and thank you, Dee, for the invite.
Thank you.
So what I do is I basically am a wholesale investor, I'm a lender, and I'm a loan originator. I wear all three hats. What that means is I bring experience since I first started taking phone calls in the business back. It must have been, oh my goodness, late 90s, I think is what it was. Retail is what I've been doing. Lending money is what I like to do. We have options for financing. Not everybody needs to be a W-2 self-employed, 3% down or 5% down. What I specialize in is different options to get you to acquire that property, that asset. Everyone likes to say they're an investor, but they don't actually understand what that really means. Right. And I'm actually very happy to know that my friend here, Alfredo, is with me on this call because he's actually an experienced realtor and an experienced investor himself. He knows what he's talking about, so he can kind of validate what I'm saying. I hope, what I say works, not just for him, for me, but others on this call and others listening to what we're going to be speaking about today is finding other means and options, and why you should not just be saving money in the bank, and why you need to put the money to work, because saving money in the bank is not going to guarantee you a future. It is not going to make you wealthier. It's a nice black and white, PDF document that you're going to see on your bank statements that say you have this much money, but you're not really growing. And you need to help, yourself and your family and the ones that you care about to kind of grow and increase your wealth. So that's me in a nutshell. Big nut.
Thank you so much for telling us about yourself, guys. And we really appreciate that you've made the time to be here with us. So let's start with the basics. I know that we talk a lot about, making the money work for you, not you work for the money. But let's start from the beginning. How can people start investing? What should they learn? Should they get educated? Where do you recommend people start investing?
You want to go first, Alfredo?
Okay, so Sergio's got a few years on the investment side, but I think the first side is figure out what type of investor you are. Me and Sergio have had this conversation over the time, right? He wholesales. I like hold deals, so I do more of single family homes. So I think it's books or different things to read. I think first you have to figure out who you are when it comes to investing. Am I a get my money, get out, and flip it to make other money, or am I a slow, steady investor? Right? It depends on where you're at. So a few books. I gotta give a shout out to this book. So don't get mad at me, everybody. It's not with Keller Williams, but The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, a great book. Also, Tony Robbins just put one out that's called The Path, that shares with you about setting up your organization, and he had another great one on investing. So I think it's knowledge first, and then figure out, okay, this is the type of investor I'm going to be, and now you have it right in your eyesight. You can go figure out, okay, this is how I'm going to get there. This is how I'm going to get to the amount that I want. But that's how I look at investing. First, I learn, and then once I've learned what I want to do, then I figure out, and then I talk to people. Like Sergio and I have had conversations, and just trying to figure out different ways or learning different sides. So that's what I do.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
my 2 cents or my nickel worth of information here is that you have to do what works for you and you have to do it. So a lot of people have, paralysis by analysis, and sometimes read tons of books and take tons of courses at the local real
Yeah.
estate investment courses, right? And tons of, which is the best computer, which is the best this. Man, if you don't just click and buy something, or you just don't get out there and get some scars and get some, black and blue marks on your body, you're not going to realize, how to really get this done. And there's individuals that really do prosper by reading a lot of books, taking a lot of courses, but they're probably going to be 20, 30, $75,000 in the hole before they've even triggered their first $2,000 deposit on a property. I'm not saying you can pick up the property for $2,000, but you have to put some money into, skin in the game, as we say, an escrow deposit, right? So the most important thing is know an area that you wish to shop in and purchase it. Do what comes comfortable to you. Do you like living in this area of Miami, this part of Broward, this part of West Palm Beach? Are you familiar with what's happening there? Are there changes going on? Are there things that you see, sites of improvements? Do you see builders, building larger apartments? Do you see buildings going up? Do you see infrastructure changing? Things that you are familiar with. Don't be led to say, okay, I'm going to buy here because here it's cheap. Well, just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's a deal.
Right.
We know we have that same bueno bonito barato, right? Doesn't always fit the bill. So I
Mhm.
suggest the most important thing is to just do it. Click on it. Do what Nike says. And you can read and you can check up, but reach out to, Alfredo, reach out to you girls, reach out to us and just ask us a question, but do it. Don't be
Right.
afraid to talk to an agent, to a wholesaler and say, I like this property. I'm comfortable with this environment. Zillow is not telling me it's a good deal. My personal gut opinion tells me it's a good deal because I know what goes on here, what was going on here, 5, 6 years ago, and where it's at today. So
Yeah.
don't let the market push you. You tell the market, or you govern yourself on what your knowledge is about the market.
That's awesome because right now, I know a lot of people, right? And they think I do lending, real estate, credit, everything. And I'm like, sure, bring it
Right,
over. I can send you a
right,
referral.
right.
But they're always asking me, Erica, as a realtor, because obviously a lot of my friends and clients are in real estate. I
Mhm.
want to invest, right? I want to invest and I have this little money saved in the bank, but I don't know where to invest. I have bad credit, Erica. I don't know if I can qualify for a normal loan, things like that. They're always asking me all these questions. So, guys, let's say, for example, right now, I own a property, but I want to start investing. And I have a little cash and I want to start investing. What are your thoughts on, like, I know you said know the areas where I want to purchase, but what guidance you can give me to start focusing and heading that direction? Maybe I don't need to have a lot of properties. Maybe I can start with one, like Alfredo said. Where should I start? And guys, if you're listening and if you have questions, please write them down in Facebook and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Shoot,
So,
go.
like I've told other individuals that I meet, even as people that want to partner up with me on transactions, or individuals that want to get into business, but they're afraid. My first question, my first statement to them is dinero sobra, right? There's
Yeah.
plenty of money out there to make a deal happen. Don't think that because you only have, $1,000 that you can't make a deal happen. Don't
Right.
think that because, you're an individual that hasn't owned a property before, that you can't buy one. So it's just a matter of, teaming up with the right individuals and making partnerships. And maybe sometimes, listen, on a deal where you only have $1,000 in your pocket invested into the transaction, maybe that's a transaction where you're not going to make, a ton of money by partnering up with someone, but it gets your foot in the door. You start learning, you start getting the lingo of the verbiage, what can and cannot happen, what is realistic. You need to figure out that there's plenty of ways to skin a cat. And Alfredo knows this, I'm sure you ladies know this, being in the title business and the real estate business period, that sometimes there's assignments that you can collect, at closing. It's not necessarily that you're buying the property and coming up with 20% down or 10% down. You have the property, you have control of the property, and you charge an assignment fee, and you collect on your assignment fee. Maybe it's 5,000, maybe it's 50, but those are all options, and those are all, opportunities granted to you that you can do a closing. And I know you've seen them, and people say, how does that happen? Because you purchased it up at a good deal, and people do walk away with a reasonable profit. Well, I should say revenue, because we don't know if there's really a profit or not. But I would say those are opportunities. It's not always buy, close, and sell. There's assignment fees that you can make. And that's another aspect, of how you can make money in the real estate world, not just, buying it and selling it, but assigning it. And Alfredo knows this. He's done them, and he's seen this at the table himself.
You have to get into the game. I learned that with Sergio. And one of the things is sometimes we go, and what he says, you got to go into the game, you got to go see what's out there. Sometimes as investors, we're like, oh, this is great. I can make like $1,000. And you go see the property, and the property is broken down. You have squatters, you have all kinds of issues, there's no associations, right? So it's a game you got to play, and you got to be out there, like he said. So as much as you read the books and do all that, but money is out there and available, right? Maybe you don't have your realtor out there, you only have 10,000. Well, you have a mom, you have a dad, you have a cousin, you have a sister, you have someone, maybe they're a high up executive and they don't have time for it. Hey, high up executive uncle, can I get this loan and I return you this? Okay, you just built a partnership. Or we're talking to people like Sergio or other investors and meeting those people, and you can be like, hey, do you have any properties or anything coming up? And they might be like, hey, I have this on investment property of my own that makes this money, and it might be something that you want. Like, he might be a different person in investing than me. And for me, I don't mind paying a premium knowing that I have everything set up in a certain way because it's what I want. So I think you have to get out there, you have to do it. Real estate, the contact sport, doesn't matter what it is, whether you're lender or title. Like Erica, one thing that I love about you is you are persistent, my friend. You are persistent, and that I can give credit to where credit is due. When you want something, you go and you go for it, and that's why you've been in this business for so long. So I think that is a little bit of what is the secret sauce. If you have to be persistent in this business, doesn't matter what you do, whether it's lending, whether it's social media for realtors, whether it's title, whatever it is, you have to be persistent. If you're going to be an investor, you better be persistent if you want good deals in this market.
I'm going to be an investor. I'm saying it to the universe.
We're here.
Yes, and actually, I'm already thinking, and Dee knows this, my gente from Orlando, we're coming over to Orlando. If you want to invest, Dee is in Orlando. She knows what's happening and it's booming. Listen, Orlando, remember, Orlando and Airbnb, it's always going to be on and hot. That's something that we're talking, and we've been talking about this. That's why we wanted to do this. We were there this weekend looking at some properties, looking at some things that we're going to do in Orlando because it is amazing, guys. Don't be afraid. Contact Alfredo, Sergio. If you have any questions, like Sergio and Alfredo are saying, partner up with people that know. Don't be afraid. I know a lot of you who are listening right now, you're always asking me that you have $15,000 saved or $20,000. Some of you had a really good deal and you have the money there, but you don't know where to start. Follow up with Sergio, Alfredo, have a one-on-one with them. I bring them cafecito, lunch, drinks, you name it. They're happy to share their secret sauce with you. But the key is to grow and connect with Dee in Orlando.
I want to try. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I'll chime in just on a personal note here on a transaction, without giving too much details or names that I did with someone, just about a month or so ago. And when I mean I funded, right? And this individual was very funny and funny and courageous. And that's really what it takes. Like you said, you have to be persistent, right?
Mhm.
This person I found out lives here in Miami and bought a property in Orlando. So when you said that, it kind of triggered. I'm like, hey, I remember this client. She bought the property in Orlando, right? She went up there, she hustled, she got up there, she saw the property, she liked it, she made an offer on it. It was an assignment. And I'll tell you what, it was an assignment of mortgage or assignment of contract that she bought the property from someone else, closed on the transaction, which I financed, and she's done the rehab work. And that takes guts because she's living down here, hired the right team, did her homework, right? Hired the right team. It was her first deal, hired the right team, got the work done, and now she's listing the property up for sale with a local real estate agent in the Orlando area. So
Yeah.
you don't have to live in the market, but you just need to
Right.
know the market. And I say this because people may say, well, I live in Miami, but it's in Orlando. If you know the Orlando market and you just so happen to be a transient and you're here now, or you have close family friends up there, listen, don't be afraid.
Mhm.
Fear is just
Absolutely.
basically you doing a gut check, and just telling you, okay, let me cross my T's and dot my I's and say, this deal works. And
Yeah.
she's going to make a profit, and the
That's
profit, I'm not going to get into the dollar amounts, but a profit's a profit. And it's in, it's a nice check. How about that? And
Yeah.
that deal is really nice. She's done some good work to it. And, maybe one day I'll show you guys before and afters without giving too much detail, but she made it happen. And that was her first
Nice.
deal. And you just
Awesome.
have to have the persistency and the trust in yourself to say I can do it. And other people are going to tell you, hey, it's not going to work, you're not going to make any money. And you know what,
Mhm.
maybe the first one you only make $1,000,
Mhm.
maybe,
Yeah.
right? But you
But
have to
you're getting
try.
your feet wet.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
not your first web call, right? This is not your first Zoom call. Think about the
Exactly.
first time you were on your first Zoom call. Was that hilarious or what?
Oh my
Trying to
God.
figure out
Yeah.
how to get how to get your back, how to get this screen going, right?
Oh
How
yes.
to get your
Yes.
perfect
My background
shot.
has changed so many times.
There
It's
you go.
crazy.
So we all went through that learning curve. So
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
Zoom call, the first time you did it, about a year ago, if that's when you were doing it, right?
Right.
You had to learn. You made a couple of stumbles, you made some mistakes, you pressed the wrong button, somebody came flying through naked on the background, maybe they went to the bathroom. We've heard all those things. But you
Yeah.
have to go through some of these, these funny or heartaches to
Mhm.
realize I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to call this
Absolutely.
person.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that with you when you said the Orlando and the investor, and you can do it, wherever the market that works for you.
And let me second that by saying that a lot of people have kids going to college here, like UCF. And the
Mhm.
other day I had a friend that called me. She asked me like, hey, you know the area. Can you tell me a little bit about what apartment complexes like you recommend for my kids to go to university and whatnot? And I'm like, well, I had an idea, right? Well, I was helping her look. I told her like, hey, why don't you buy something here, like an apartment or something? You get your girls in, you rent out the other rooms, the mortgage is going to pay by itself, and you're investing. You know what I'm saying? So
And she's not in real estate.
yeah, and a lot of times people don't think about that. And
Mhm.
I wanted just to say this because we are talking about specifically how to invest in real estate and all of that. And our audience is mainly realtors, entrepreneurs, and all of that. But for other people, for regular people that have kids that are going to college, like think about that option. You can invest. Call Sergio, call Alfredo, like you can invest in Orlando, any other city. Like if your kids are going to college, you know what I'm saying? Like that is an opportunity for you. Your kids will have free housing and you're making money out of it. You know what I'm saying? So
That's interesting because Jose Alfredo, wrong guy. Alfredo and I are basically new parents, and we've discussed this, on a personal level as well. How do we set up for retirement, and how do we set up for our kids' education and their future? And again, being serious as we are and funny guys at the same time, we were trying to figure out, man, how do we beat the market? How do we prepare our kids, not just, headstrong, but how do we
Mhm.
prepare for their education? You have the prepaid college fund and you have all these things. That's great. But we're kind of doing a roundtable discussion, and we said, if you buy the real estate, and this was really, Alfredo's idea, or he probably planted the seed in my head. You buy an investment property, you start putting it together, and by the time they're going to school, it's either paid off, right? Or it's in a good position. And the money you're collecting from here to then, 16, 17, 18 years from now, or even 10 years from now, is paying for their education. And this is something that you would transfer over and over and over again. This is something that would last for generations.
You guys can do that together.
Today,
yeah.
And
you guys are going to do that together, because your son is 2 years old, Alfredo?
Yeah, he's going to be 2 in November. Yeah.
And then your daughter Sergio is about going to be 1 soon.
She's going to turn 10 months old this
So
this
is
month.
genius. You never know it. Maybe their boyfriend and girlfriend in the future.
You never know. You never know. You never know. I'll keep an eye on you, Alfredo. I'll keep an eye on you, buddy.
One of the things that we're going to talk about is why would, and I'm not against prepaid cards and all that, but why would you not just buy a house and have the house pay for the prepaid, and now you have a house and you have a prepaid? You have both. So get to school, you have a house, you can also do an FHA loan or one of those different loans for them when they're 18 and buy a house, and now that the kids can all rent because it's going to cost less than paying room and board. So there's different ways. The one thing is, and when we mastermind and Sergio and I talk all the time on this stuff, is where's the next thing, or what, where is our strategy, or where we're going? Because the money, like you said, you can find it. You just need to be paying attention to it. If you don't pay attention, and it's a story I tell people. My next door neighbor's house was in sale for $180, and I didn't buy it. I wasn't paying attention. A year later, it sold for $250. 2 years later, it sold for $320. It's probably worth like $400,000 now in less than like 5 years.
Wow.
So,
I'm noticing a trend. They don't want to live next to you because the same house keeps selling over and over again. So I'm thinking you make a bad neighbor if they keep selling the same house.
You don't get invited to the barbecues? What's going on?
I'll put the fence up. I don't want to see anybody. I go right in.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Guys, that's a great topic that we've been talking today. Everyone that's listening, Elsie says hi. Eric says hi. Guys, follow Sergio, Alfredo, if you have any questions.
Tell us your Instagram so that people can follow you.
Yes.
Oh, for sure. Mine is Puj _ the original. So PUJ _ the original.
Yeah, so mine on Instagram is Sergio Closes. And it's as simple as that. If you need to find me on Facebook, just put me up under my personal name that you see there coming up. And if you have questions, reach out to me, send me an instant message, and I'll answer you. And I'd be listening. If somebody on here is listening and they want to put together, a roundtable discussion and meet up somewhere and have, a couple of people get together and just shoot some questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them for them. Or we can make a personal Zoom call. So
now that you said that, I'm going to plan something in May where we bring our partners, meaning realtors, lenders that don't know what you know, Sergio. So I'm going to plan on putting this panel together live. Because definitely, there's a trend right now where, thank God, all of us survived 2020, right? We made good deals. We were blessed and healthy, right? So now there's a new trend coming and we want to be on top of it. We want to start investing. We want to buy, and that's the reason why we're doing this, right? We're in real estate. We need to now invest. How many more properties we can have? Create wealth. And with that said, I wanted to do this live, maybe Miami Lakes, which is in the middle between Dade and Broward. Okay, I understand traffic. But doing this in a bigger scale, because I have a couple of friends as well that are interested in saying, okay, I have 100,000 here. Where can I invest? How can I start? So maybe to come up with something like this. So I've been working on that. And Alfredo, if you can, of course, you're in my list. You're number 1 in my list, and so is Alfredo. Alfredo, I'm clueless. We were talking about this. I know you are buying stocks as well, a little bit about Bitcoins. I don't want you to share with us so much, but when we talk about investing, it's not only what are your thoughts? Because you're not only investing in real estate, but you're putting your monies in buckets, here and there. So share with us a little bit about what you're doing.
So my new thing is crypto. Sergio knows. And one thing I learned a long, long time ago. So when I was 18, I remember I told my dad, I was like, hey, you gotta buy this Google thing. And way back when, he's like, no, whatever it is. Google stock is $2,000. So one of the asked for me is kids, right? Facebook, the same thing. I was in college when Facebook came out. So one of the things that I've learned is the youth will give us what the next thing is. And the cryptocurrencies or all this market, stocks are high, yes, stocks are going to be there. Stocks will always be there. I think it's a good investment to have diversity. The only reason I'm so big on this crypto stuff now, and I'm not a pro, so don't get mad at me out there in the world, is the moment that you see it on CNBC or you see it on the news constantly, or you're seeing purchases of houses, it's now a trend. And you haven't necessarily lost it. So you might just be in the second phase. So the first phase are the early adopters. You might be in the second phase. So that's probably my baby yelling in the background for here. So it's by the second phase. And I think that cryptocurrencies are here to say it's not money necessarily, but it's the technology. The technology, like you saw the Heat Stadium was the same NFT stadium. That's a form of that side. So I think as realtors, we always should have houses. I believe that a house will fund your stocks and your cryptocurrencies, etc. I think that's always important. I always believe real estate is there, but you always have to be ready for anything. Because when the market crashed, if you all look last year, it was March 20th. It was like the 15th through the 20th. All the markets, everything dropped almost 60% or some crazy number for like a week. Had anybody bought anything at that time? If you would have bought one Bitcoin, it was $3,000. You would have made $50,000 in less than a year. So
Yep.
I'm big on it because I know what it is, but I also love real estate because if you have a tenant paying your rent, which is $500, you can buy a little portion of Bitcoin every month, and your tenant is making you a multi-millionaire or whatever wealth level you want. So that's how I do it. But then again, I know people in there that are way into it, and yeah, the first time I saw it was actually Sergio. I don't even remember in Nala. Eric, you have to remember we were.
Oh my God! Yes, I was just gonna mention that day.
It was 2015 or 16 where we were outside in the event and they were having a conference. I'm like, these guys are nuts.
And
They
we were
have-
laughing at those guys. We were
Yeah.
laughing.
I was like, these guys are crazy. And that's, I guess, what I've learned on the investment side is the crazy ones. Usually they're up to something, but you got to do your own research. And I've done enough research to know that it's here to stay and that's it. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Well,
I'm not as affluent as Alfredo is in that category. I I look at it, which is a trend. I also see it as, cash is almost like the black market. I mean, it's kind of hard. Like you put your same $20 bill in your pocket. I don't know how long you've had it, but you can keep that bill for months and never break it because it's almost people don't really use cash all that often. And it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
You go out and you get somewhere, it's a Cash App, it's Zelle, it's any other, way of paying for services or paying employees. Appraisals. I don't know if, other people are for services, insurance, are taking different forms of payments. So it is something to look at and see what's happening. I'm not a heavy Bitcoin investor. I have my, I don't understand it as well as Alfredo does.
Right.
So I sit there and I'm looking at it and see what's going on. And, eventually I'll put my foot in the water and get involved more than I am right now. But it's definitely something that you need to pay attention to and follow it and see what is going to happen if you start doing what he says, which is take the money that you're collecting from your rentals and just put a piece of it in there and see what happens to that, 2 years,
absolutely.
5 years down the road. Are you going to lose? Are you going to be on top? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think that I've heard before, the saying that if you don't know about it, if you don't know what it is, don't invest. But I think that if you can get together with people like Alfredo, that they know, they're already educated on the subject, like they can tell you a little bit more about it. If you know someone that you trust that is into it and you want to get into it, because a lot of people tell me about it, like, oh, I want to learn about stocks, and they don't know, like there's so much information online. And it's just like when you have a headache, like you Google it and it's like next thing you know, you have cancer. So, it's a lot of information online. So make sure that you, you get together with somebody that you trust and that can tell you about the topic, that can point you in the right direction, and then get educated.
I think you said something.
Absolutely.
I just want to. I know we got to run in a few minutes, but I thought that was important because you have to learn from other people, and then, my advice I was giving myself is, if today I'm going to eat I'm going to go to a nice restaurant. Do I want to eat a nice dinner, or do I want to invest in something for the future? Meaning, it could be education too. Do I want to invest in that crypto class, or that sub class, or that real estate investment class? Right,
Mhm.
to learn how to do that. Do I want to get better at sales? Because one of the things we forget is a lot of us in the real estate industry, all you have to do is add 2 more deals, and you can buy as many investments as you want. But we get hung up on all these other things, and that's sometimes the easiest fix is get better at your craft. Take the classes, listen to these type of podcasts and webinars, and get good at your craft. You can make more money to then use for the other things you want. We sometimes get hung up on investing. I'm like, you're good at sales. We're all in sales, and then the rest will come.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Guys, thank you so much for your 30 minutes. I don't want to keep you longer. That's why we always keep it to 30 minutes, short and sweet. Please follow Sergio and Alfredo. Listen,
We're going
cup
to
of coffee.
on our Magnet Monday so that
Wine.
all the information is there. You guys can look them up. And by the way, you guys, this is our anniversary month, so we're really excited about that. We started during the pandemic, and we talked about it on a Sunday. Boom, Monday we were like you said, Sergio, people just got to start doing it. That's exactly what we did.
Yes, and it's going to be a year.
Yep.
Anniversary.
Thank you so much for
Thank
picking
you.
us on this year side, and congratulations on all your success. And really look forward to Marvin. Thanks for having us on here.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
ladies.
Share, and may God bless you and have a wonderful weekend. Continue following us, and until next Monday.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.